Hey climbers, and welcome back to the Treehouse. My name's Ree, and this is the Tarot Tree. And in today's video, I thought we'd just have a little look at my spring collection of decks. You know, we are in this season, a little ways in now, probably halfway through. So I'm a bit late as per, but I just, I thought it'd be nice to showcase a few decks that mean like, I have that feeling of spring, to me anyway. Because I quite like the practice of, changing out decks seasonally. I like working with that energy, that seasonal energy. I think it's something very nice to kind of tap into. And I like having decks that reflect that. This, by no means, is just a definitive list. These are the ones that, I've kind of grabbed and I've been working with this season, this year so far. But there's always decks, that come in and out. There's decks that we want to bring in a little bit of darker energy sometimes, or, if we were in a more autumnal or winter kind of season, we might want to bring a nice spring and summer deck into it, for that energy, to infuse some of that energy when we're in the darkness and vice versa. So, yeah, it's by no means definitive, but I thought it'd just be nice to see what decks feel spring-like to me in my collection, and see what you guys think. Maybe showcase a few you haven't seen yet. And open some discussion to seasonal decks. So yeah, I thought I'd start with tarot decks first actually. So without further ado, let's get going. First up, I've got the old Forhaxa Tarot. Now we're going to see a theme through this, I reckon. I've noticed as I've just turned to my left all the piles of decks beside me. What I see as spring very much comes down to a lot of botanical energy, and it seems, and also quite a lot of animal energy. And I think the Forhaxa definitely, oh wow, she's going everywhere. Oh guys, there's one thing about these decks, these MJ Coulihan indie decks, they are slippery effers. Really and truthfully, and this was in order but no more. I guess it really does want to be used. It's got that trickster fae energy about it, but I have dropped practically half of the deck, so bear with me. I guess it doesn't want to be in order. I think that's the way to tell me, use me, stop looking through me and studying me. Oh dear, so I kerfuffle this. And the last card I picked up was the Chariot. So that definitely speaks to this deck being cheeky and wanting to just be used and get going. Look, it's even slipping off here, that witch on a broom. Blimey. It's bloody set off my allergies now as well. Alright, where was we? Forhaxa. Yes, a spring deck. What can I say about this deck? It's got that botanical energy. It's got that sort of fae energy, which I link to spring for some reason. I don't know why I link them to spring. Maybe because I think of them like in terms of, when I think of the nature element and forests and things like that, it just reminds me of spring. I don't know, that's the seasons I attach to landscapes such as that for some reason. Even though they're here throughout all seasons, I just think of spring. So yeah, we have a lot of that in this deck. A lot of kind of earthly energy, a lot of otherworldly energy with the fae kind of, and I think it's a nod to more of the Scandinavian folk tales and stuff in this deck. I really have to work with her more, genuinely. It's relatively new to my collection, and because I've had a few other decks on the go studying, it's been a little bit ignored. As you can see, she doesn't like that. But yeah, spring comes to mind for this. It could probably work in autumnal as well, but I just see a lot of new growth. You've got a lot of the flowers sprouting in these cards. A lot of blossom energy. Look at this Hanged Man. Oh, that's fantastic. Look. It's like he's being taken off, but he's trying to find his bliss in this sort of new growth, and I like that. That's what spring season speaks to. I'm a big lover of spring. I'm a spring baby. I look forward to it. Like, I'm just dying for winter to come to an end a lot of the time. Spring is when I get, a spring in my step. And I really feel like this deck speaks to that fairy and magical and kind of all of those sort of elements that remind me of spring. I think fairies I link to spring and fae actually is because of these flower associations. I don't know, maybe that's something a lot of us did as a child. When I'd see things like bluebells come up, for example, certain flowers, they always remind me of fairy flowers, like these are the flowers that fairies would be living in or making hats out of, or do you know what I mean? When I was young and I was really into fairies at one point, it always reminded me, they were always coming hand in hand with that blossoming, that floral energy. And this deck definitely has all of those elements, you know, there's not one card that's really going without that here. That's a beautiful world card. So it's just nice to bring that energy in, because in my practice so far, I think this is the only fairy / fae deck I have, and I don't know if it's like completely meant to be a fairy or fae deck, but that's how I look at it. It's not an energy I've stepped into working with as of yet, and I think a lot of the decks that I like, well, some of them anyway, they're no longer in print, which is a bit sad. But oh wow, what's that we got? Modern life, aeroplanes everywhere. Oh, this Empress card, one of my favourite Empress cards. She's so beautiful, right? Sort of nymph-like figure, pregnant, all these sort of bunnies again, all of that, you know, birthing energy, new life. And that really speaks to spring. The Empress is a perfect spring card, you know. This is one of my my zodiac cards as well, which is why it's always one of my favourite, to be fair. But yeah, what card speaks to spring more than the Empress, right? So yeah, definitely be working with her in this tail end of spring, actually. I really do love this. Look at this little fairy, and I love how she's working together with the animal energy here as well. We have the fox and the crow helping her out with that Three of Pentacles. That's so sweet, you know, her helping her grab the apple, the crow helping her kind of break it off. How wonderful is that? I love when we get that kind of nod in decks to sort of not just work together as like humans and stuff, but you know, with our animal kind of kin as well, you know, kind of appreciate that nod to nature. And obviously spring is when a lot of our little babies come out to play, don't they? So yeah, that's the Forhaxa. That's my first spring pick. That's from our spring harvest. Let's put her away. Next up, because this list really couldn't be complete without this, and that is the Botan Tarot. And I've been waiting till spring to make use of this. And guys, I managed to find the zine only recently, so I'm even more excited to work with this deck now that I have a book that can help me better understand it, and it's sort of story behind the cards, because I think I've mentioned before I haven't really worked with this deck because of that lack of a kind of background in the story that goes into this deck and the reasonings behind the characters and the picks. It's such a beautiful deck though, and what speaks to spring more than this, you know, the blossoms, the sakura, you know, this is a Japanese deck, or a Japanese creator has created it, and they are very big on spring, you know. I really need to visit, especially during that time. So it has to be, you know, these soft muted colours. It's just absolutely stunning. This linen, even this finish, I can't describe it, guys. If you can get your hands on this, if they reprint it, honestly consider it. I know, like some cards, for example, like the Empress, we have a lot of the sort of more court figures in this deck. Like they're quite zoomed in, like kind of faces, a bit like the Hidden Realms. That is definitely a deck I want to get my hands on in terms of fairy decks. But you do get a feel of their energy. Look at this Emperor, you do know, and you get these animal companions again, all that animal energy. Love it. Look at the ginkgo. It's just been such a beautiful deck to look through. It's a piece of art, genuinely. It's so delicate, which reminds me of blossoming kind of springtime as well. I am a little bit precious with this deck, so I kind of want to get over that, because I do feel like it has that very gentle. Look at that Strength card. Such a gentle energy that really would be nice to tap into for this sort of season. You know, as much as spring can be about growth and being a bit punchy, like that Forhaxa kind of tarot is, you know, we saw how sassy she could be, and, you know, kind of helping you galvanize yourself for that new growth. Sometimes you need just that slower pace, more gentle kind of pace, you know, and this deck kind of reflects that, I think, that sort of whimsy of spring. Look at her. She's so beautiful. This sort of artist, like, I don't know, what do you call that when they're doing them? Oh my god, it's left me. Either way, she's gorgeous, right? And just look at all of the flower energy. Like I said many times, like I'm working with botanicals this year, something I'm really learning, and especially like flower language. So we're going to see a few decks that kind of speak to that. This is one of them, and I thought spring is the best time to start with this. Honestly, I can't think of a better time to start working with this deck. And it's got a story element to it, this deck, which I love, you know. I really do love that. We've got characters like created in here, whole backstories. We get the same sort of animals coming through, especially when we make it into the minors. We have like they're split into kingdoms. It's so sweet, like based on the suit, like Chrysanthemum's kingdom, the Iris kingdom. You know, there's a whole kind of lore behind this that the artist has created, and that's really beautiful. But yeah, it's definitely spring-like. You can't get really any more spring-like than this in terms of aesthetics, I don't think. You know, just these beautiful tones, pastel colours, almost pastel watercolours, all of the animal and botanical energy. It's just, oh, I adore it, and I can't wait to work with it and see how, you know, the messages come about for spring this season. I think I'll leave it there, otherwise we'll just keep showcasing it. But yeah, that is the Botan Tarot. Beautiful. I may do a proper walkthrough of this now I have the zine for anyone that's interested. Maybe some of you have got it and haven't been able to get your hands on the zine either, so it might be handy to have in the older catalogue. So let me know if you'll be interested in that, and I'll get to it for you guys. I'm sure it'll be a very nice exercise for me too. Okay, next up. It wouldn't be complete without my most recent study deck, and that is the Witch's Wisdom. Definitely spring energy. I've been working with this a lot. I use like one card pulls of this, and I marry it a lot with a specific oracle deck that will be coming up later. I love this. This is spring energy, right? We have butterflies, for goodness sake. I love the feel of this deck. I love the artwork of this deck. It just reminds me, you know, it's very British. It reminds me of those sort of spring holidays that I used to have, you know, whether we'd go out to the countryside, caravan parks, and then explore, you know. That's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of those moments of my childhood, going out exploring in springtime, you know, when I've had school holidays. Walking through cliffs, you know, making daisy chains, exploring our little forests, you know, our hillsides. Look at this, all these mushrooms. It's just very earthy, very elemental deck. And I think spring is a season for me that really draws our attention to that and brings that energy to us, because we see all that growth happening around us. You know, even if you're in city, you're going to see in a city, you're going to see flowers bloom, you're going to see baby birds come out, you know, baby foxes. You're going to see all of that happening, whether you're in the countryside or in a city. There's no escaping it. You're going to see the days get sunny, you're going to see the rain fall. you become very in touch. Obviously spring can be a very, especially in the UK, kind of tumultuous season. You know, we get basically 4 seasons in one day. Like yesterday, or about 2 days ago, we had everything going on here. Like it was sunny and then dark and then thunder, but there was no rain, and then it started, rainbow appeared because the rain came after, you know. Everything was going on. This is all in the space of about an hour. And that's what I love about spring, how elemental it is and how in touch it gets us with that. And I feel this deck is very similar to that. It has that energy for me. Look at this goddess of water. Isn't she beautiful, the way she's incubating that child? It's a fascinating deck. I do like the book. It's maybe I'll speak on it in another video specifically about this deck. Some of it's a little bit like I'm wanting to get more from it, like but there are some, you know, some descriptions in the book that are really interesting, you know, and I just feel like this really speaks to the intuition as well. It's a deck basically that's going to help you kind of grow. I think you have to work with it and you have to make an effort to understand it, I believe, and you have to be willing to grow with it. And you know, spring is a season of growth, no? So it definitely speaks to spring in that element too. So yeah, the Witch's Wisdom. I do recommend it. I really do, but it takes, you need to spend time with this deck, and it may not be for everyone. The book might not be fully easy to grasp in terms of the messages. Sometimes, you know, it takes a little bit rereading and deciphering and seeing what it means to you, and sometimes it might feel a bit like a bit lacking in kind of grounded energy in this message in some, I would say. But if you do like working with herbs, you do like doing rituals, that, you know, each card has its own sort of kind of witchcraft kind of ritual to go along with it, which I think is pretty cool. I don't make use of that because that's not something I ascribe to at this moment in time, but it might be something that really does speak to you if that's what you're into and that's something that resonates with you. And spring is a good time for that. You know, there's a lot of things that are coming to blossom that can be used, so definitely check it out. Pilgrim, here we go, take the leap. That's the Fool card. The Witch's Wisdom. Okay. Oh, I've lost the bag. Oh no. I'll just have to pop you over there, mate. Okay. Next up, in terms of tarot spring decks. Yes, we can't go without you. My lovely Janissa Jouse. Jumbo. Let's see if she's actually getting in frame. Another deck that's relatively new and I've been working with daily. This is a daily the deck I've been using for daily pulls, just using one card to get to know her better, as you do. It's only fair. Again, this is a deck with that botanical energy. I'm loving that. I'm loving it for spring. It just really marries well with what spring's all about, growth. The colours in this, some may say maybe a bit more autumnal, but for me, I do get that spring energy from her. It's all the floral energy, you know, some of these pastel colours as well, the yellows, the lilacs, you know, even the backs, look, I love them. It speaks to spring for me. It really does. And I'm finding it a really interesting reader, you know, because obviously this is a completely different language, so I've had to create like a key to that and become more familiar, which, you know, has happened quite quickly actually, which is nice. So that's learning something new again, with that kind of growth element of spring. What spring means to me is about growth, so I'm using decks that are kind of encouraging me to grow, encouraging me to kind of sit with my cards a bit more, dive deeper with them, you know, really spend that time nurturing them, you know, nurturing my understanding of them, should I say. I love this Justice card. Look at that, cutting themselves free. Isn't that fantastic? What an interesting take on justice. And one of my favorite Emperor cards. Look at how everything's overgrown him. You know, it's all about that sort of new life kind of juxtaposed with that kind of ancient, kind of unmoving kind of wisdom there too. You know, that Emperor there, he's just sitting there, he's been stuck in his ways so long, he's been overgrown, you know. And that's something to be kind of a message that's quite interesting to kind of analyze within the Emperor we all have in ourselves, as someone who has a lot of Aries in their chart, as well as being a Aries cusp. These aspects of these cards that are so beautifully kind of highlighted in this deck because of that botanical element, you know. Life moves on, you know. That's what spring's always teaching us. Whether we're going to take it in a good way or a bad way, you know, is up to each of us individually. But, you know, life goes on, and that can give you hope, or it can make you feel fearful. But that growth is going to come regardless, no matter if you are the most stubborn Emperor. And I like that. I like that this deck kind of gives me these reminders. I like that it has this pippish element too, that just has these flowers, these floral kind of energies that makes you go and learn about them a bit more, learn about what these kind of botanicals mean. What is the relevance of those flowers, why they've been picked. And that was a nice time to do that, you know, especially when they're all coming to bloom around us as well. Here we even have the sun. It's again a reminder of growth, because all the flowers are opening up and going towards it, you know. Growth is happiness long term. So I love that. This is what this deck does the best. It reminds me of that growth element of the spring. It really does. You know, even the tower is a flower. A flower tower. You know, finding out what this flower is about and why it is the tower, you know. It was fascinating. The stars even have got flower energy, all that hope for new growth. That's what a star is about, hoping and wishing for something new. And spring is about that renewal, right? Love her. So yeah, that is the Janissa Jouse, another spring deck selection. You can get this still. Definitely consider it. I know this one's a big one. There's another version that's actually probably even more spring-like in how it looks, because it's like a greener version. So yeah, you can check that one out. It's smaller as well, so if you guys have that, let me know whether that's one of your spring decks too. I considered getting that one as well, just because I feel like has more zoomed out images, which is kind of interesting. Kind of gives a different feel to the card and the message, I think, and also brings a different energy. A bit more spring into summer, that one, I would say. Okay, next up, we're gonna stick with the botanical kind of elements. I've been waiting for spring to kind of work with this deck, and this is the Botanica Tarot. So luxuriously packed, right? Look, we even have kind of dandelions here. That always reminds me of springtime. Wishes, you know, making those wishes. And this is, as you can see, a very, very beautiful deck. What have we got here? That I'm going to be using, starting really more now. This is more a spring into summer deck for me. That's the vibe, that's the energy I get from it. As you can see, it's still in order. It takes a lot of study. Like I said, I feel I need to be in the mood. This isn't something, you know, studying all this flower language and botanicals and how they kind of relate to the tarot, etc. I feel like I had to wait to spring to really be in the mood to get into that deeply, to be honest. I like that. I need the season to match the energy of what I'm doing. You know, like when it's autumn, when it's winter, you want to just snuggle up, be cozy, you know, be near the fire, kind of read some stories, you know, maybe look into I don't know what floats your boat at dark times, telling horror stories, who knows, let's get some HP Lovecraft out. But with spring, you know, with looking into more like flower language, you know, spring is the season for it. The flowers are out here. Let's be present. Let's be in the moment with our practice, right? And it's just beautiful to have up at this time of year as well, actually. This is another deck that I really wouldn't be doing 3 card pulls with. It's usually 1, being the vocal point of a read, or just a single card pull. It's been really interesting though. Like, I'm studying it still, that's why it's in order. But when I have like mixed it up and tried it out, it's nice to just have it up, you know, displayed, creating my own little kind of patch of flowers alongside the oracle cards I use with it in my room, to remind me that spring is here, growth is here, renewal is here. You know, let's step into that. Let's step out of the kind of doom and gloom that winter can bring to us sometimes. It's a lovely deck. Like I said, it's not the most intuitive reader unless you're very, very kind of familiar with what these plants mean. But obviously this is quite personal to the creator as well, because like they've kind of made their own meanings with these flowers too. But it is really interesting. Really interesting. And just look how aesthetically beautiful it is, honestly. It's beautiful. You'd be hard pushed to find a more kind of aesthetically pleasing deck, I feel. Especially with these, like the contrast of these colours against the black border. I feel that's really inspired. I really like that. I wonder what it would look like with a white background or lighter colour background. That would create a completely different feel. Yeah, Botanica deck, guys. That's what I have to say about her so far. Definitely a nice one to have in the spring collection. I sound like I'm talking about fashion, don't I? This is our spring summer collection. I'm here talking about decks. Oy vey. Do you guys split your decks into seasonal kind of beauties? I've noticed a few people on here do. Ooh! It is fun. It is a fun exercise to look through and see, yes, this energy is spring energy. Okay, I think this might be my last tarot. God, I probably have some more knocking about somewhere, but we'll try and keep this video a decent length. This is a really new and very special deck that's just came into my collection. I finally bit the bullet, guys, and I got it. And that is the Gentle Tarot. Yes! Heal yourself, heal the earth. What a beautiful deck. Guys, I'm loving it so far. I really am. I needed a deck with more gentle energy, a comfort deck, as you will. Because I didn't really have many in my collection. And along with that renewal of spring and that change of spring and that growth of spring, you know, sometimes that can be a little bit unnerving. You know, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like with all this pandemic, the world slowed down a lot. And to some degree, it was nice to be going at that slower pace, you know, even though there was a lot of uncertainty, etc., and other not very nice things happening. And now it just feels like the world has just sped up exponentially, and that's rattled me a little bit. It really has. There's all that frenetic energy around at the moment, you know, which we always kind of get a little bit with spring, I feel anyway, is that kind of energy, like, yes, you know, it's just that age-old thing. When the weather gets better, people want to be out doing things, you know, which is all well and good. We need that. But I feel like where people had been kept inside a lot, it's even more amplified now. For me, that's how I'm picking it up. And obviously there's still a lot of crazy things going on in the world all the time, and you know that each of us, our own individual journeys can be quite tumultuous, and I just needed a deck to help with that. And this is one of those decks that's like on the healing spectrum of that spring feel, you know, again back to that more slower pace, what I was saying about the Botan Tarot. just a nice, comforting, colourful deck. It really is. There's just a lot of animal energy in here, and they all look, you know, pretty happy, you know, like friendly companions that are here to hold your hand. I say that and then we get this kind of crazy guy with the Seven of Thunder, but even he could look cuddly in the right light. You know, get these pairings of animals. Get these quite introspective cards, you know, there's a lot going on. Like, you can read this deck quite intuitively, I think. For me anyway, I find it quite easy to read intuitively. But when you get into the book, it's really fascinating to see what Marisa, like, kind of her thought process behind this. It's just really well thought out, and it's really encourages us to kind of look at our relationship to nature as well, to animals, and that's very, you know, that always reminds me of spring. Like, because whenever spring came out, like I said, obviously all the animals are coming out, but when I used to like have breaks from school and school holidays, etc., I was lucky in my area. There was like ecological parks and things, places to go that would teach you, you know, that, you know, take you around and show you, look, these are the insects that are coming out now, this is the tadpoles and the frogs and, you know, the pond life, and really get us engaged with that cycle of life beyond our own sort of, you know, obsession with our own human kind of woes, you know. I think that is very spring energy, you know, a reminder that we're not just here on this planet alone. Everything else has got a cycle and is growing here with us, you know. And this deck definitely has a nod to that. It really does. I feel like this is a deck that could probably be used in any season, but for me it speaks mostly to spring. Potentially going into summer too, to be fair, with the colour palette. It's just been really lovely to get to know it recently. And yeah, what more spring can you get with this Four of Wands and getting their own butterfly wings, right? Love that. So yeah, that's the Gentle Tarot. Nice companion for this spring season. Okie dokie. What's up next? Let's move into the oracles, shall we? If I can get my hands to them. So first up, we have the wonderful Outgrow Yourself Oracle and Tarot by Atka Sparman. What more can I say? Outgrow yourself. This is all about growth, this deck. And it's fantastic. It's beautiful, almost like goddess-like energy with this kind of, I think it's meant to be a self-portrait of the artist actually, you know, always sort of entangled up with these kind of flowers and fruits and, you know, plant energy, with a lovely tagline at the top, you know, and kind of a nod to the Thoth system of the tarot. It's just such a lovely deck to do one card pulls, and I've been using it a lot through the spring, and I feel like this will work well probably all year round, but I just get a spring and even more like a summer vibe. But spring I would say more, because of this kind of nod to the growth. This is what this deck is about. The reason I got it is because, yes, I sort of needed a little bit of an affirmation deck to go through more like shadow work, I would say. You know, and obviously shadow work's not just consigned to we just do this in the dark months of the year. No, it's all year round. Because sometimes you can feel really gloomy even when it's sunny outside and there's flowers, you know. You need that reminder to be present and smell the flowers, you know, and feel the sun on your face. And then this deck, you know, is sassy. It's quite blunt. I can't lie. But it gives you that sort of, you know, it galvanizes you. It does. Like I said, spring does that to me as well. It kind of gives me a kick up the backside when if I'm feeling down, and I've particularly been dealing with, say, seasonal affective disorder through kind of the winter period. Spring is that kind of, come on, let's get going. Growth is to be had. And this deck's very much like that, I find. Find your purpose. Like it's that sassy best friend that doesn't want you to rest on your laurels. You know, wants you to do that inner work, to keep growing. You know, don't just stay still. Kind of face these things, you know, shine light on them. You know, when the sun's starting to come out and shining a light on all these seeds that are growing outside in nature, why not do the same with ourselves, right? Are you wasting your time? I hope not. I'm not wasting yours either. Hide your secret under the tree. Some of them are really kind of cryptic as well. I kind of like that because it's like a mystery you have to solve. Reminds me of me like when I was a kid and I was trying to find grasshoppers, and like you have to kind of wade through the grass and try and make them jump out so I could catch them. Hide your secret under the tree. Sounds like telling you to bury someone, doesn't it? Bury the body. You don't want to do that in springtime, man. You don't. Well, I'm not speaking as a serial killer or anything, but oh gosh, I've literally really gone off topic here, as you can see. Sharing is caring. Yeah, spring reminds me of coming together as well. It's like when you kind of, I don't know, I'm someone that hibernates. I am very animal-like. I feel like I must have been some sort of hibernating animal in a past life, because like wintertime is like, yo, just leave me be. I'm not coming out of my house, thank you very much, unless there is like nice food, hot food, a fire and storytelling. Spring is when I start to see people again, you know, be a bit more sociable. The grass is greener on the other side. What a cool tagline for the Hanged Man, right? I like that. Because usually they say, oh, the grass isn't greener. That's sort of a line that keeps you in fear, right? This is all about, no, adopt a different perspective. It is greener. You can make it there. So yeah. Outgrow Yourself Oracle, guys, and this is now available in the boutique if you're in the UK, so check it out. It might make it a bit more affordable for you. So yeah, that's my first spring oracle there. What do you guys think? Did you get spring energy off that? Okay, next up, this would not be complete without my new precious baby, and that is the rings and that is the Roots and Wings Oracle deck. You know, this deck pairs so well with so many of the tarots I've already showed you, particularly the Gentle Tarot, the Wild Wisdom, the Witch's Wisdom. It's just a beautiful, beautiful deck. And come on, guys, how more spring-like can you get? Look at Earth Mother. She's got everything going on there. We've got pomegranates. She has a kind of bouquet of blossoms as her own facade, you know. You can't get more spring than that. Again, this nods back to, like I said, with the Witch's Wisdom, that sort of elemental energy. We have these sort of elemental figures here that, you know, all kind of more like silhouettes rather than just talking about us as humans and all our detail and all, you know, me. It's like, no, we're a universal kind of being here. Let's remember that. The colour palette brightens up your day, even like the horrible, well, I say horrible cards, but the more hard-hitting cards, you know, are still kind of giving you that sort of sunny cheer on, you know. That's the way I look at it, because this is a deck that is all about growth, you know, roots and wings, finding a, you know, a home and growing from there, you know, finding your wings as well, your roots and your wings, hence the name. I don't know if any of that I just said made sense, but hopefully you guys are used to deciphering my kind of nonsense. The wisdom of the owl here, beautiful. Luck of the Irish, that was a terrible Irish accent. Good fortune, you know. Again, the botanical energy, all this new growth, dreamer. Step out into the clouds on your canoe. Let's go and do these things. Activities, you know. Spring is the time of activities when we start coming out before it gets too hot in summer, especially late spring. I used to do like kayaking and canoeing on the canals in our area. I mean, it's not quite canoeing and kayaking, is it? Because we haven't exactly got beautiful kind of rapids and stuff. It's more like someone's dumped a shopping trolley in the canal, but the water rats the size of dogs. But I digress. It's fun activities, you know, heading into that late spring summer. I used to do that a lot. Even got to drive a narrowboat, you know. Any of you are familiar with Rosie and Jim? Well, that might just be a UK thing. I encourage you to look it up. Just for the theme tune, is these two puppets that kind of make their way around on a narrowboat. It might not be very politically correct now, because when I think about it, they do seem like travellers, right? Either way, Rosie and Jim, Rosie and Jim. That's, yeah, that was, I don't even know if it was a good show, because I just remember the theme tune and them doing silly things. But if you like narrowboats, it might be up your alley. But like I said, yeah, this deck is just, it's got a refreshing feel to it, you know, again with that spring renewal, and I like that. It makes me happy to use it, you know. Even the backs, just look at the colour palette, the feel of it, the type of art, the colours used, the messages. It just, it makes me want to craft as well, which is something I kind of liked to do in springtime, you know. Dry flowers, you know, make daisy chains. It encourages you to get out in nature, this deck. Actually, this would be a lovely deck to actually go out and use when we're out in the park and in nature. I think I definitely feel I'm going to do that and recharge up its energy a little bit. The Lovers. I love this card because it's like we're in tandem with the earth here as well. It's like having that love for our kind of planet too. I love that. Mystery. So yeah, the Roots and Wings, a wonderful spring-like deck for sure. Pairs with so many things. To be fair, I'll use it probably all year round because I like it that much. And it probably given me a little boost in the winter months. But no, it just really speaks to that spring energy for me. Aesthetically, energetically, you know, and all other aspects. So next up, we're going to bring the animal out. We're going to bring the animal energy out loud and proud. Okay, we have a few here. A few that have been neglected, you know, from me, I must say, unfortunately. I'm sorry, guys. An unsung hero is the wild unknown animal spirit. I love this deck. I just haven't been using it, and I don't know why, because I just feel this, the book to this, Kim Kranz, she's a very good writer, it has to be said. She's a very good deck creator. A lot of thought go into her decks. You can never say that it doesn't. And animal energy is just a nice energy to work with, particularly in spring for me. Why, you ask? Again, it's like animals are coming out of hibernation. I think it's got to be that for me. I know animals are here with us all year round, but I just feel like it's just more strong. Their presence is more strong to me in my actual, you know, the actuality. When I go out into the world in springtime, you know, they're out and about. All the babies are around, you know. I've got a family of foxes living right outside my window at the moment. So I can't escape them. But peacock, it's lovely to tap into that animal energy and their archetypal energy, and the way she's married that archetype energy with animals and the research she did back into this, creating this whole system, is phenomenal. Again, it gets us in touch that we're bigger than just this sort of human existence, you know. We've got to be less selfish in that, less egotistical in that. We need to realize we're here with other creatures, and that, you know, they marry our energy a lot of the time too, and in terms of they can teach us a lot. There's a lot of wisdom to be kind of gleaned from them, and I like it. It just gives you that boost. Some of these are a real call to action. Some of them are like nice kind of energies to ponder on. It's just a great deck. And I think that animal and botanical energy married together is really cool. So if this is a vocal card, to like use like one of the more botanical tarot decks with it is a nice combination. Really getting you in touch with all those sort of nature elements. Zebra, look at that with the third eye. Come on, a zebra, a fabulous animal. We gave it the third eye here. Amazing. Mr. Rabbit. So yeah, that is Kim's Cran's Wild Unknown. Oh my goodness. Animal Spirit, that's it, the Animal Spirit deck. I've seen people make a whole like mega deck with the Wild Unknown Tarot in this. That'd be pretty cool. I've not done that myself yet. Maybe I should. I've lost a part of the box. That's great. You're doing well today, Ree. You're doing very well. Bravo, bravo. Okie doke. Oh, is there? Oh well. Next up is another oracle deck. Another animal oracle deck, to be precise. And this is the Spirit Animal Wisdom deck. An unsung hero. I think this is actually a really nice animal. No, that's not a fitting word. That's kind of a bleh and a meh word. Let's do Katie Jane Wright and Nikki Strange more justice than that, because they are the creators. It's a lovely deck. It's got very nice energy, very nice messages. And again, with this sort of colour palette, I even like the backs. The cardstock's a little bit flimsy, but it's mass market. It's easy to get your hands on. I just love the questions it poses, like how can you serve yourself better sometimes, you know. It has questions, it has statements, the book has some really nice messages. The animal energy is very strong in this, but it's very easy to kind of understand, you know, with these very like direct kind of messages. This is more, I think, could go into summer as well, this deck, a spring summer deck, I would say. It's just really nice to sort of end a read with a card like this. Sometimes you need those easygoing decks, you know, those easygoing oracle decks, when you just need, you know, a little bit of a helping hand, or a little bit of encouragement, or a little bit of a push, or a little bit of a kind of, you know, if we're spending more time out and about in spring, getting a bit busy, and we haven't got the time to be, you know, there in our hibernation mode, kind of doing our whole kind of tarot spreads, you know. One card pull of a deck with some nice energy. Look at Bambi there. I love this card so much. Look at it. It's like a silhouette and then like an outline and another one. Trust. Approach the situation with a light heart. I love it. And you even have the nod to like the kind of what elemental energy is there. So yeah, this is a really good animal deck, guys. So if you're looking for one and you haven't been told about this one yet, here you go. I definitely sing his praises very highly, and I'm a bit ashamed that I haven't been using it. It's sort of been stuck in the back of my collection, but it's out now. Oh, I love that. Inner child, don't take life too seriously. And the baby orangutan. Oh, they're so cute. Hedgehog. This would look really nice with the Witch's Wisdom as well. This would be a nice one to pull cards with, because the messages are really kind of grounding as well. Oh god, just I said that, look. Grounding, ground your energies and emotions deep into the earth. Elephant. The messages are married very well with the animals that are chosen as well. I like that. It makes it a bit more of an intuitive reader, and I can definitely appreciate that. What's our next oracle offering? We're going to have two here, and they're by the same person. This is the Avex by Avex Levy, or Watercolour Words by Rebecca Lefebvre, and illustrations by Phoebe Hunt. So I have the Fantastic Being, and I also have the Flora Healing deck, which I've shown a lot on here. It's kind of over my medication. It's kind of over my meditation corner at the moment. I always kind of leave it there in my sound bowl, so we'll just go for this, but you can kind of get the gist of the energy here. These are the manifestation cards. So these ones are all about, you know, bringing your manifestations to kind of fruition. You know, you've got one that's about healing, one that's about healing, manifestation, and inspiration. I think there's an animal deck I don't have, but I feel I will get it to complete the trio, to be honest. Again, we go to this sort of, you know, this is a mix of all difference. You know, we have like plant energy and flower energy in here, animal energy, kind of natural world, you know, the kind of supernatural world in here. There's so many things. But look at the kind of vibrancy of this deck. It's beautiful, right? And I love how they're like these zoomed in. It's the jackalope, yeah. These kind of zoomed in energies. I really love the sort of colours and things picked. I think this is upside down. I'm not sure. Is it? Who knows? And we just get these really encouraging kind of messages on the flip side that are really good for like journaling as well. And like, I feel like getting out in nature and journaling. Ooh, dearie me, what's happened here? Knocked it. It's a really cool thing to do in this season in spring. I'm someone that needs to be encouraged to get out of their house, and spring does that. You know, I need to do it more, and it'll be really nice to kind of add this into my practice a bit more with my decks. Getting out, journaling, getting that sunshine, getting that vitamin D, you know, kind of grounding myself. It's good to do that. When we get that better weather, it's just easier thing to do. Look at him, oh my god. Who is that? A manatee. Heart center. I just love it. I just feel like it's so beautiful. Here we have this sort of Empress energy, this Gaia herself, Phoenix energy. It's just such a wonderful deck. Look at how, you know, it really speaks to that kind of spring summer to me, with this vibrancy and this manifestation being what its kind of purpose is, this deck. You know, I feel like spring is a very good time to harness that manifestation kind of energy, you know, bring, you know, it to its sort of head and its peak. We've been building up that energy through the autumn winter period, you know, having that seed. Now it's time for it to grow, you know, and this is helping you tap into that, you know, with its messages and its energy. And I really appreciate that about it, and that's why it's in this selection of decks. Obviously the flora healing one again is just all that botanical energy, and that's why it's really nice. Well, I use it all year round, but it's really fitting for this season too. And I really feel like the animal one out of this collection would be as well, so check them out. I'm pretty sure she sells on Etsy, like for worldwide. I think in the UK the boutique has a few of them. I think it has the animal one and the fantastic being one still. I don't think the flora healing one's in stock at the moment though. Okay, right, let's have a look at, I think this might be my last one actually, and this is another one that was sort of like a forgotten kind of treasure, and that is the Atlas Oracle. Honestly, this one doesn't get spoken about a lot. It's an indie deck I'm pretty sure by a UK creator. It's one of the first indie decks I got, Oracle, on Etsy. And I used to use it a lot. If you see any of my reads like on this channel, this is the deck that I would start off, because I feel like it gives a good overall energy, like for a tarot read, because it has cards that really speak to the tarot as is, but obviously it has its own kind of oracle cards going through this too. And it's just so what's the word, expansive, this deck. And you know, it's the Atlas Oracle with all that kind of earth energy we see through this. The colours are very earthy and spring-like, I think. And it's, again, kind of a deck that's really good for getting you kind of working with this sort of energy of growth, I think. You know, because it's almost, it is an affirmation deck, but it's more of a deck that kind of asks you questions as well, gets you kind of going, like this is what you need to sort out kind of thing. You know, if you're trying to make plans, etc. It is very good for that. I don't know why I've neglected it so much. I'm really, you know, bringing it back out for this latter half of the spring. It's just the easy reader again. Like, I feel like I said, like, if you haven't got the time to be doing whole big tarot spreads, there are a lot of cards here that have nods to the tarot, but you've got these keywords that kind of just help you kind of like really hone in on what it is that you need to know at that moment in time. Look, we even got kind of confirmation words, yes, no, things of that nature. So I do like it. It's a really good deck to have as a vocal point as well. Here, look, we have pretty much, that's the Hermit card, right? So it's a good deck for kind of learning the tarot actually as well, if you're looking to do something new come spring and you're new to tarot. This is a nice little oracle companion for sure. It's just lovely. Look, here we have that really secure kind of spring energy here. All about nourishing yourself, you know, looking after your health. A nice cup of tea there. So yeah, that's the Atlas Oracle. That's my last sort of spring kind of oracle offering. Again, this is one that I probably use all year round, to be honest. It's very versatile. It's very unique. Even in, you know, you could see even that might bother some people. Like some cards are more expansive and just have like the words, and some have like what's the word? Have like phrases, etc., like statements and stuff, like little affirmations and questions. But I like that because it really kind of, it's almost like it's seeing like what card you pull is what energy you're kind of ready for at that time, or you need at that time. Like maybe there might be a card you'll pull in, you haven't got time for a phrase, that's why you're not pulling one with a tagline, you know. So yeah, this is a nice deck to have for this season for sure. I thought I'd throw it in because it's been neglected and I've been hoping to work with it more, and I will be working with it towards the end of this season. So yeah, I think that's it, guys. I think that was a pretty long one, so you might be thinking, thank God that's it, but I'm sure there's probably a few more lurking in my collection, but we'll have to come back at make a new one maybe at some point. So yeah, guys, that's all my spring kind of decks, tarot and oracle decks. Let me know like what you think. Would you give them would you give some of them a different kind of season than I have? Do you work with any of these? And are you working with any of these as well through spring? That'd be cool to know. Yeah, do you guys work seasonally? I think it's such a cool practice, genuinely, but I do think I like being in alignment with nature and with Gaia in that way, and the elements and the seasons in that way. Maybe because I'm an earth sign, right? There's a lot of earth in my chart, maybe that's what it is, that Taurian in me. But yeah, no, it's been a great exercise, a wonderful exercise. Thanks for sharing in that with me. Hopefully I gave you a few ideas of some decks that you can work with this spring if you have them, or encourage you to spend even more on cards. But no, in all seriousness, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, give it a like, thumbs up, always helps. Subscribe if you're not already, if you like the content. It'd be really cool to see the treehouse grow even more. It's been really great seeing it grow as is. And yeah, hit the notification if you want to make sure you know when all my videos are uploaded, because it is quite sporadic at this moment in time. And thanks, guys. I hope you're having a good time wherever you are, whether it's spring or what's the other hemisphere where you guys are now. See how terrible my sort of knowledge is. Are we in autumn where you are? Are we in winter? Winter? Let me know. I'm being silly. Let me know, because clearly I need to be educated in this field. But yeah, guys, have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.